Another year comes to a close, but the future has plenty in store, including new single-player games. Whether it's delayed games, games that have been long in development, or eagerly awaited blockbusters and indies, there are a lot of games inbound. Let's look at 50 single-player titles releasing in 2023 and beyond.
Grand Theft Auto 6. In a tweet last year, Rockstar Games finally confirmed what has been rumored for years, that the next Grand Theft Auto is in development. It noted that, with every new project, our goal is always to significantly move beyond what we've previously delivered. We're pleased to confirm that the active development for the next entry in the series is underway. Of course, when we'll actually see any concrete details is anyone's guess. We look forward to sharing more as soon as we're ready, so please stay tuned to Rockstar Newswire for official details, the developer said in a follow-up tweet. It thanked fans for their support, noting that it cannot wait to step into the future with you. In terms of what fans could expect, reputable sources like Bloomberg's Jason Schreier and insider Tim Henderson have offered some details. Schreier reported in April 2020 that the sequel will be a moderately sized game, with plans to further add and expand it with post-launch updates. Henderson revealed last year that it would be set in a modern-day Vice City, and that there would be multiple protagonists, including a woman.
Forspoken. Okay, so the recent demo ranged from intriguing with its magic and movement abilities to downright painful with its writing and barren world. But there's still plenty of potential in Forspoken, Luminous Productions' upcoming action RPG. Following Frey Holland as she attempts to defeat the once benevolent Tantas of Athia and return home. A lot of magic is available to wield and plenty of unique areas to explore in this main game. Plus, the visuals look nice and should shine even more when HDR has been fixed. Releasing on January 24th, 2023 for PS5 and PC, Forspoken is a PlayStation console exclusive for the next 2 years. Here's hoping it lives up to expectations. Marvel's Spider-Man 2. It's a cliche to say it, but Marvel's Spider-Man 2 is one of next year's biggest games. It's also probably the biggest PS5 exclusive without a shadow of a doubt, even with big names like Final Fantasy XVI and Final Fantasy VII Rebirth coming up. However, with Miles Morales and Peter Parker featured and Venom finally debuting, with his voice actor promising the game will be massive, it may not be the most controversial take. Marvel's Spider-Man 2 is launching in fall 2023, exclusively for PS5. Brace yourselves though, because it'll be darker than the previous games. Marvel's Wolverine. Not confirmed for next year, unless you ask Microsoft. No, really, but still significant is Marvel's Wolverine. Compared to Marvel's Spider-Man 2, which should build on its predecessors, we know nothing about the gameplay. However, the announcement trailer showed Logan ready to fight in a familiar location on Madripoor Island. Game director Cameron Christian of Marvel's Spider-Man Miles Morales fame is in charge, so maybe it's another open-world action-adventure game. Either way, it's currently in development as a PS5 exclusive. Dead Space. Isaac Clarke's slow descent into madness begins anew when the remake of Dead Space arrives on January 27, 2023 for Xbox Series X and S, PS5, and PC. Courtesy of Motive Studio. Along with massively upgraded visuals, the remake features the peeling system for chipping away layers from enemy limbs and the intensity director for 1,200 random terrifying events. The sound effects for weapons have been revamped, and Isaac Clarke is fully voiced, with Gunnar Wright returning to reprise the role. That's only the tip of the iceberg in changes, with numerous new rooms, zero-G sections that now feature Dead Space 2's mechanics, and much more. Nevertheless, everything we've seen thus far seems to point to it retaining the essence of what made Dead Space so horrifying. If you're looking for a compelling space survival horror and were disappointed by the Callisto Protocol, maybe Dead Space will fill that void. Maybe make you whole. Deliver Us Mars. Following up on the space adventure title Deliver Us the Moon, if the name wasn't a clue, Deliver Us Mars sees astronaut Kathy Johnson traveling to Mars with the Zephyr and its crew. The group Outward has stolen the Ark Colony ships, and your job is to get them back, lest humanity become even more endangered. There's exploration, platforming, and puzzles as players attempt to survive the harsh conditions of Mars while appreciating the ray-traced shadows and reflections on offer. Deliver Us Mars is coming to Xbox One, PS4, Xbox Series X and S, PS5, and PC on February 2nd, 2023. Hogwarts Legacy. Hogwarts Legacy is an action RPG set over 100 years before the first Harry Potter books, developed by Portkey Games and Avalanche Software. As a fifth-year student of Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry, the player character uses ancient magic and possesses a secret which could have consequences for the wizarding world. While you'll learn more about these things, you'll attend classes, brew potions, customize the room of requirements to your liking, engage in duels. Hogwarts Legacy is out on February 10th, 2023 for Xbox Series X and S, PS5, and PC, while the PS4 and Xbox One versions arrive in April, and the Nintendo Switch version in June. Like a Dragon Ishin. Ryuga Gotoku Ishin is finally getting a remake with Like a Dragon Ishin, out on February 21st, 2023 for Xbox One, Xbox Series X and S, PS4, PS5, and PC. Developed on Unreal Engine 4, you play Sakamoto Ryoma, no relation to one Kazuma Kiryu, in 1860s Japan as he seeks vengeance against the one who killed his master. Join the Shinsengumi in Kyoto as Saito Hajime during the Bakumatsu and use 4 combat styles, slicing enemies with a sword, shooting them with a gun, a mix of both, or just using your bare fists. You even have crazy abilities like energy blasts and black holes. Kiryu might not kill people, but Ryoma is a whole different matter. Again, no relation. Since this is Ryuga Gotoku, you have tons of sub-stories and activities ranging from karaoke, fishing, vegetable shopping, and traditional dance to running a restaurant and Jankenpon. Like a Dragon 8. Like a Dragon Ishin looks great and all, but what about brand new games in the franchise? What about Ichiban Kasuga, the hero of Yakuza Like a Dragon? Cue Like a Dragon 8, starring both Kasuga and Kazuma Kiryu, though you'll still have various allies to back you up. It's a turn-based RPG and promises to be the biggest game in the series. Very little else is known, even the reason behind Kiryu's new look. But it's coming to Xbox One, Xbox Series X and S, PS4, PS5, and PC in 2024. Like a Dragon Gaiden, the man who erased his name. As you probably noticed, Kiryu's hair undergoes some changes in Like a Dragon 8, to help players understand why, while also detailing events surrounding the Dragon of Dojima from Yakuza 6 to Yakuza Like a Dragon. There's Like a Dragon Gaiden, the man who erased his name. Releasing in 2023 for Xbox Series X and S, Xbox One, PS4, PS5, and PC. It starts with Kiryu living in its seemingly secluded lifestyle before indulging in some manual labor. It's roughly half the size of a regular title, but there's a town to explore, side quests to complete, and much more. How important it will be to the overall story remains to be seen, but it looks great. Horizon Call of the Mountain. PlayStation VR 2 launches on February 22, 2023, and should be the next big step in console VR gaming. Though it has over 20 launch titles, Horizon Call of the Mountain is undoubtedly the highlight. Developed by Guerrilla and Firesprite Games, it stars a new character, Rias, a former Shadow Karja. After his actions in the previous games, he's looking to regain his honor and is a master climber, fighter, and machine hunter. The action takes place from the first-person perspective, but Rias will use familiar weapons like the bow and combat machines like the Bellowback, Thunderjaw, and Stormbird. Thus far, it looks gorgeous, while the combat appears fluid. Sherlock Holmes: The Awakened. Frogwares is releasing a remake of Sherlock Holmes: The Awakened in February 2023 for Xbox One, Xbox Series X and S, PS4, PS5, PC, and Nintendo Switch. Sherlock Holmes and John Watson embark on a harrowing adventure. Investigating disappearances, players will investigate clues and piece everything together, but Sherlock's insanity will also dip further into insanity as time goes on. With an expanded story, improved visuals and animations, and about 15 hours of playtime, it should be a worthwhile mystery for fans of the series. Woelong Fallen Dynasty. Neo meets Sekiro Shadows Die Twice with some Dynasty warriors sprinkled on top. That's sort of what Woelong Fallen Dynasty is going for with its combat. Set in the Three Kingdoms era with iconic heroes, mythical beings, and fantastical monsters, it's a faster, more vertically paced take on the action RPG genre from Team Ninja. The push and pull of parrying and attacking to reduce your enemy's spirit, opening them up to powerful blows while using magic and building morale, flows pretty nicely. At over 40 hours and some potential endgame content, it could be your next Souls-like fix when it launches on March 3rd, 2023 for Xbox One, Xbox Series X and S, PS4, PS5, and PC. The Legend of Heroes: Trails to Azure. As the follow-up to The Legend of Heroes Trails from Zero, Trails to Azure continues the story of the Special Support Section, led by Lloyd Bannings. While all is well after saving Kea and stopping the DG cult, other figures seek to use the former for their ends. The sequel features 2 members, Null Seeker and Wazy Hemisphere, and a customizable police car for getting around. Releasing on March 14th, 2023 for PS4, PC, and Nintendo Switch in English, it also features revamped visuals courtesy of PH3 and should have the same quality of life features. With how significant the Crossbell arc has been to the overall Trails lore, it's great to finally have both games available worldwide, especially en route to the release of Trails of Reverie. Star Wars Jedi Survivor. As the sequel to the massively successful Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, Jedi Survivor takes place several years later. Cal Kestis returns, older and stronger, but also pushed to the brink by the Empire. Armed with new Force abilities, Cal will also have 5 lightsaber stances. You can wield 2 lightsabers in dual blade stance, or execute heavy attacks with Kylo Ren's lightsabers. Want a bit more oomph and blaster fire? There's a stance that combines a lightsaber slices with a blaster. Along with encountering new characters and unlocking new traversal methods, like mounts, players will battle against new enemies, explore larger biomes with challenges and hidden rewards, and much more. There's even a planet new to the Star Wars universe, which serves as a central providing ground. Star Wars Jedi Survivor is out on March 16th, 2023, for Xbox Series X and S, PS5, and PC, and will support ray tracing and faster loading times. Resident Evil 4. Before it became the action-heavy survival shooter we know and love, Resident Evil 4 was a moodier, scarier game. The upcoming remake, launching on March 24th, 2023 for PS5, PS4, Xbox Series X and S, and PC, seems to channel the darker tone while enhancing everything about the original game. Along with modernizing the graphics and updating the controls, Capcom is looking to reimagine the story while maintaining its essence. Whatever that may mean, you'll still be fighting for your life against Los Illuminados, with new moves like blocking and deflecting chainsaw strikes with your trusty knife. Resident Evil 4 will also support PlayStation VR 2 at launch for even more immersive thrills. The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. For all of the big games releasing in 2023 and beyond, you have to remember, few of them can match the hype surrounding The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. As the sequel to Breath of the Wild, it features new story and gameplay elements like floating islands, with Hyrule Castle itself seemingly levitating. Link can soar from these islands, use new abilities, and even has some snazzy armor. What's going on? Why does Zelda have short hair? What new threats and adventures await? We'll find out when it launches on May 12th, 2023 for the Nintendo Switch. Silent Hill 2. After years of rumors and skepticism, Konami finally unveiled its plans for the Silent Hill franchise, including a remake of Silent Hill 2 developed by Bloober Team for PC and PS5, where it will be exclusive for 12 months minimum. Composer Akira Yamaoka and creature designer Masahiro Ito also return, lending their talents to the remake. Unreal Engine 5 has been used for development with revamped combat and set pieces, no loading screens, and support for the DualSense. A release date still has to be announced, but the developer did reveal that it's been in the works since 2019 and reaching late production. Even if it doesn't arrive next year, it won't be long before we dive back into the mind of James Sunderland and experience the twisted horrors of Silent Hill once more. Diablo IV. Following the aftermath of Diablo III, humanity fends for itself against the legions of hell, spurred by the return of Lilith. Choosing one of 5 classes, Druid, Rogue, Necromancer, Barbarian, and Sorceress, the players venture into the world, hacking and slashing demons while leveling up and gaining better loot. Diablo IV is out on June 6, 2023 for Xbox One, Xbox Series X and S, PS4, PS5, and PC, and is a lot more open than its predecessor. With camps to liberate, dungeons to explore, skill trees to go through, and Paragon boards to figure out. With more customization in the form of runes, rune words, new attributes, and seasonal powers, there's a lot in store. Of course, there's plenty to be skeptical about, what with the always online requirement and microtransactions, which aren't used to buy power, but the statement is open to interpretation after Diablo Immortal. Then there are the reports of Blizzard having to crunch to meet the release date. Time will tell how it pans out. Final Fantasy XVI. There is so much about Final Fantasy XVI worth looking forward to, whether it's the hack-and-slash combat system, the world design, the massive icon battles, or just the overall presentation. The story centers on Clive Rossfield, living peacefully with his brother Joshua. He grows up and seeks revenge, battling against the dominance of Valstea's various nations, each with their own icons. It's a dark fantasy epic with a distinct vision and vibe, and releases on June 22, 2023 for PS5. Baldurs Gate 3. The years of waiting leading to the announcement of Baldurs Gate 3 seemed agonizing, until we had to wait several more years for its launch out of early access. Nevertheless, it's finally out in August 2023 for PC and represents Larian Studios' most ambitious role-playing game ever. Set over 120 years after the second game, it sees the player kidnapped by mind flayers and implanted with illithid tadpoles. Upon escaping with other survivors, they must find a way to remove the tadpole. With its reliance on Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition rules, there are numerous classes and subclasses to enjoy, an extensive amount of skills and spells to play with, and all kinds of insane choices to make. Whether it lives up to the massive hype or not, Baldur's Gate 3 is something special. Alan Wake 2. Announced at the Game Awards 2021, it's been more than a year since we've seen Remedy Entertainment's Alan Wake 2, the long-awaited sequel to the 2010 classic. It's leaning much more into survival horror and is still in third-person perspective with Remedy Northlight's engine used for development. Not much else is known, save for it being on track for release in 2023 for PS5, PC, and Xbox Series X and S. But new players can jump right in without playing the previous entries, so that's a plus. Assassin's Creed Mirage. The Assassin's Creed franchise has moved steadily away from its stealth origins after, well, Assassin's Creed Origins. But Assassin's Creed Mirage brings it back, front and center, focusing on Basim as he goes from street thief to joining the Assassin's Brotherhood in 9th century Baghdad. Players will parkour through the 4 districts and partake in classic black box assassinations, searching for the best way to take down targets. It's only 15 to 20 hours, and after how gargantuan the recent entries have been, that sounds wonderful. Mirage will retail for $50 in 2023 for Xbox One, Xbox Series X and S, PS4, PS5, PC, and Amazon Luna. Avatar: Frontiers of Pandora. Whatever your opinion of the movies, what little we've seen of Avatar: Frontiers of Pandora looks promising with Massive of the Division fame in charge of development, in collaboration with Lightstorm Entertainment and Disney. Exploring the western frontier as a Na'vi, players fight back against the RDA in the massive open-world action-adventure for Xbox Series X and S, PS5, PC, and Amazon Luna. Compared to The Division, the gameplay is in first person, and despite taking place in the same universe, it's a standalone story. It's all very intriguing, but rumors of troubled development, which may have caused the title's delay to 2023 and 2024, have been circulating. We'll probably get a better idea of its state heading into the next year. Armored Core 6: Fires of Rubicon. From Software's next big title veers away from fantasy into sci-fi and revisits the cult classic Armored Core series. Armored Core 6: Fires of Rubicon takes place on Rubicon 3, a planet laid to waste after a mysterious substance was discovered and caused a cataclysmic disaster. That same substance has re-emerged, and as a mercenary, you're smack dab in a conflict between corporations and resistance groups over it. Like its predecessors, Armored Core 6 is focused on mech customization and tuning different parts to your liking. There isn't an open world structure, there's no campaign co-op, and this isn't a Soulsborne type game, despite having intense boss battles. Regardless, the aesthetic and giant robots look positively amazing. Armored Core 6: Fires of Rubicon releases in 2023 for Xbox One, Xbox Series X and S, PS4, PS5, and PC. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Final Fantasy VII Remake remains one of the best games of 2020, and a dream come true for fans. However, it also was the start of a brand new story, where previous characters' fates would change. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is the next part, releasing in winter 2023 exclusively for PS5. A necessity due to its SSD, as per the developer. The first trailer saw Cloud walking side by side with Sephiroth. The developer recently confirmed that Zack has an active role, after the last game's conclusion. Even with no details yet on gameplay changes, locations, and whatnot, we can't wait to see where the story goes next. Starfield. Bethesda Game Studios' next magnum opus, its first new IP in more than 25 years, and arguably the biggest Xbox Series X and S exclusive yet. Many of these things describe Starfield. The story is set in the 24th century, 20 years after a war between the United Factions and Freestar Collective. with the player joining the space exploration group Constellation. While their overarching role has yet to be revealed, the sense of freedom with over 1,000 planets to explore, several major cities to explore, and much more. It's still reminiscent of Bethesda's previous titles. That's not even factoring in the mining, spaceships with full customization, various NPCs, companions, factions, and much more. One could argue that it's almost too ambitious, especially given its delay to the first half of 2023. Nevertheless, it's an RPG to watch out for when it arrives for Xbox Series X and S and PC next year. Stalker 2: Heart of Chernobyl. GSC Game World returns to the Chernobyl exclusion zone again with Stalker 2: Heart of Chernobyl. All the usual tropes from mutants and anomalies to other stalkers are present, and there's a massive open world to explore. You can ply your trade, collect and sell artifacts, or investigate the exclusion zone and learn more about the state of the world. There are over 30 weapon types with several ways to modify them, various factions, and a non-linear branching story. Stalker 2: Heart of Chernobyl is slated to release in 2023 for Xbox Series X and S and PC. The Legend of Heroes: Trails into Reverie. Some felt that the ending of Trails of Cold Steel 4 wasn't a fitting conclusion to the Erebonian saga. Trails into Reverie remedies this, presenting an epilogue with 3 main characters, Reen Schwarzer, Lloyd Bannings, and C, each with unique story arcs. You can switch between them at any point while indulging in different side stories for the massive cast. Brave Orders and Arts return, and the new United Front system offers even more ways to defeat enemies. There's also the True Reverie Corridor, which featured randomly generated dungeons and minigames. The Legend of Heroes: Trails into Reverie releases July 7th, 2023 for PS4, Nintendo Switch, PS5, and PC. Layers of Fears. Along with Silent Hill 2, Bloober Team is working on Layers of Fears, the third title in its psychological horror series. It's about the stories of artists enslaved by their obsessions, and casts a new light on the overarching narrative. Except for the painter's spouse from the first game potentially being the main character, very little has been revealed about the story. However, it's developed on Unreal Engine 5 for 4K, HDR, ray tracing, and Lumen's immersive lighting. Layers of Fears is out in early 2023 for Xbox Series X and S, PS5, and PC. Death Stranding 2: Working title. Yes, actor Norman Reedus said it's coming, and yes, the various teases of new characters with who, what, where, and how come were weird. But the reveal of Death Stranding 2, currently the working title, was something else entirely. From Fragile attempting to escape a battlefield with a baby to having a ship with the Drawbridge logo on it and conversing with an older-looking Sam Bridges, it also seems that Higgs is making a return, judging by Troy Baker's inclusion. And we wouldn't have our mask-wearing weirdo rocking out any other way. Death Stranding 2 is coming to PS5, but no release window has been confirmed. Suicide Squad: Kill the Justice League. Following the underwhelming Gotham Knights, there's some concern about Suicide Squad: Kill the Justice League, especially following the departure of Rocksteady's founders, Sefton Hill and Jamie Walker. The action-adventure title is due on May 26, 2023 for Xbox Series X and S, PS5, and PC. It features Deadshot, Harley Quinn, King Shark, and Captain Boomerang as the protagonists as they fight against various superheroes, including Batman in Kevin Conroy's final role, who has been brainwashed by Brainiac. Though it has a 4-player co-op, solo play is also possible, and you can switch between each character while the AI handles the others. Brief gameplay snippets have looked promising, but here's hoping we get an extensive deep dive soon. Hades 2. A sequel to Supergiant Games' amazing roguelite dungeon crawler is a complete surprise, but a welcome one. The story sees underworld princess Melino venturing beyond Hell to explore a bigger, deeper mythic world, with new locations and slay Kronos. Olympus again lends its might in the form of boons, but there will be other upgrade systems like the Arcana Altar and the ability to tame witch familiars. Perhaps most appealing is that the story will once again evolve based on your success and failure over multiple runs with dozens of fully voiced characters, from familiar faces like Zeus to newcomers like Apollo and Nemesis. Hades 2 will go into early access for PC on Steam and the Epic Game Store, with more details to come in 2023. Lost Soul Aside. Of the many titles coming to PlayStation as part of the China Hero project, Lost Soul Aside looks the sharpest. Revealed in 2016 by solo developer Yang Bing for PS4, it immediately caught our attention with its fast-paced combat and stellar visuals. All these years later, UltiZero Games is involved while Sony serves as the publisher, and a PS5 release is confirmed. The gameplay looks to have leaned into an action-adventure vibe, with high-speed set pieces as protagonist Kazir is seemingly on the run from various forces after merging with Arena, a dragon-like symbiont. A release date still hasn't been confirmed, but Lost Soul aside is worth keeping on your radar. The Witcher 1 Remake. In the age of remakes and remasters, it's surprising that it took this long for a remake of the first Witcher game to be greenlit. Developed by Fool's Theory, a studio founded by veteran Witcher developers with CD Projekt Red's creative supervision, The Witcher Remake is a modern reimagining of the first game, developed from the ground up on Unreal Engine 5. It will also be an open-world game title, which is a significant departure from the original. Get comfortable though, since it's currently in the early stages of development and won't release until after the next mainline Witcher title. Hollow Knight Silksong. Initially, Hornet was to be a playable character in Hollow Knight, but the increased scope of the DLC has resulted in a proper sequel. Announced in February 2019, Hollow Knight Silksong will be released by June 2023 for PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Xbox Series X and S, PC, and Nintendo Switch. Featuring a new kingdom to explore, a unique playstyle with Silk, over 165 enemy types, and a quest system, it looks gorgeous in terms of visuals, style, and gameplay. The wait has been long, but hopefully, finally, we'll get to play it next year. Assassin's Creed Codename Red and Codename Hexa. The developer finally announced that its next mainline Assassin's Creed title, Codename Red, would take place in feudal Japan. Players will finally get to play as a shinobi, though very little is confirmed about the story, how it will play, etc. It's developed by Quebec and raised some concerns due to director Jonathan Dumont being accused of bullying and abuse, so time will tell how that works out. There's also Codename Hexa, rumored to be set in 16th century Central Europe during the witch trials. Montreal is leading the development and it's reportedly going quite well, though more details are needed. The Next Witcher. The next Witcher title is in development on Unreal Engine 5 and is currently under pre-production as Project Polaris. The story, premise, and gameplay are still under wraps, but it will build on The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt's legacy and has over 150 developers on board. It's also an open-world RPG that marks the start of a new Witcher trilogy. After Polaris launches, 2 more Witcher titles will be released within 6 years afterwards. That may sound like wishful thinking, but the appeal of a brand new Witcher is undeniable. Cyberpunk sequel, Project Orion. Cyberpunk 2077 is also getting a sequel, currently dubbed Project Orion, which will prove the full power and potential of the Cyberpunk universe, as per CD Projekt Red. It's developed by CD Projekt Red North America in Boston, with core team members like lead quest designer Paweł Sasko moving over. However, it will also receive support from the head studio in Poland and CD Projekt Red Vancouver, requiring about 350 to 500 developers like the first game. Either way, it's going to be a long wait. The Witcher, Project Sirius. CD Projekt Red has a lot of Witcher projects in development, so what's one more? Developed by the Molasses Flood of Where the Water Tastes Like Wine and Drake Hollow fame, Project Sirius is in pre-production with CD Projekt Red providing support and over 60 developers. Again, not much is known, but its promises on an innovative take on the Witcher universe, which will present an unforgettable tale for existing Witcher fans and new audiences. Whatever that may mean, the narrative should be interesting, going by the developer's previous work. Rise of the Ronin. Team Ninja has delivered some stellar action RPG action with Neo, and looks to go even further with Woelong File and Dynasty. In the longer term, however, it's venturing into open-world gameplay with Rise of the Ronin while maintaining its fast-paced action RPG combat. Set in late 19th century Japan during the Bakumatsu, it's a period of unrest and civil war with the anti-shogunate factions fighting the Tokugawa shogunate. You play a Ronin, a masterless samurai equally skilled with katanas and firearms. You'll meet various characters and can decide who to side with. It's all up to you, but what choices those consequences will have remains to be seen. Rise of the Ronin launches exclusively for PS5 in 2024. Pikmin 4. If you ever lament the long development period of any video game, remember that Pikmin 4 was said to be very close to completion in 2015. It was put on a lower priority in 2016. In September 2022, the developer finally confirmed that the real-time strategy game would launch in 2023 for Nintendo Switch. The Bulborb returns, and a new playable astronaut character has been confirmed. That's all we know, so hopefully next year we'll offer more details. Fatal Frame, Mask of the Lunar Eclipse. Following the release of Made in Blackwater for new consoles, Koei Tecmo confirmed the Fatal Frame Mask of the Lunar Eclipse will launch On March 9th, 2023 for PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Nintendo Switch, and PC. The location is Rogetsu Island, Japan, where 5 girls went missing a decade prior. When 2 were found dead in the present day, the remaining 3, Misaki, Madoka, and Ruka, returned to investigate and learn the truth, since their memories were missing after being rescued. The island is abandoned, with many inhabitants dying after a mysterious catastrophe, and hostile spirits roam free. As you collect articles and notes to learn more about the past, the camera obscura wards off the spirits. In addition to improvements with lighting, shadows, and character models, the new release also sports a photo mode. It's no Fatal Frame 2, but Mask of the Lunar Eclipse should make for a fun atmospheric horror. Witchfire. If you've ever caught yourself thinking about whatever happened to the astronauts, developer of The Vanishing of Ethan Carter, rest assured it's still working on Witchfire, announced the Game Awards 2017 as a dark fantasy shooter. It evolved into a roguelite inspired by Hades and took a semi-open world approach. It's set to release early next year for PC Early Access, but can it rise above its inspirations? Time will tell. Silent Hill F. The next mainline title in the Silent Hill franchise is surprisingly not set in the titular town. Instead, it ventures to 1960s rural Japan, where strange things are happening. Aside from Neobard's Entertainment being the developer, everything else is a mystery. However, Ryakishi 07 is confirmed to be writing the story. Given his reputation for some of the best horror and mystery visual novels like Higurashi When They Cry and Umineko, there's a chance that it could be mind-breaking, insanely overdone, or both, which is a good thing. Lies of P. What's next after live-action Pinocchio, or Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio? Pinocchio meets Bloodborne. NeoWiz's Lies of P sees the wooden boy awakening in Krat, which has seen better days. You have to find Mr. Geppetto, which is easier said than done when everything in the city is trying to kill you. Fortunately, Pinocchio can combine weapons and even change out body parts for an advantage. Various quests also progress based on your lies, earning different endings. Lies of P is planned to release next year on Xbox One, Xbox Series X and S, PS4, PS5, and PC. Atomic Heart. Mundfish's Atomic Heart has been in development for a while and offers a mix of alternate history sci-fi and FPS RPG action. Set in the Soviet Union where robotics have advanced rapidly, players control KGB agent Major Nashiv, aka P3, as they venture to Facility 3826 and face off against rogue robots. Armed with the polymer glove with powers like freezing, telekinesis, and more, you also get a range of weapons, from guns to melee weapons, while dealing with all manner of robotic monstrosities to sick beats. Atomic Heart has had a long development cycle, with reports alleging mismanagement, several reboots, crunch, and whatnot. It's releasing on February 21st, 2023 for Xbox One, Xbox Series X and S, PS4, PS5, and PC. So we'll see how it turns out. Eiyuden Chronicles: 100 Heroes. Suikoden 1 and 2 HD Remaster is out next year. However, Rabbit and Bear Studios' Eiyuden Chronicle: 100 Heroes offers a more contemporary take on the formula. Developed by Suikoden veterans Yoshitaka Murayama and Junko Kawano, the RPG features over 100 playable characters, including familiar faces from Eiyuden Chronicle Rising, and a gorgeous 2.5D art style. With rune lenses reshaping the world of Alran and the Galdian Empire gaining more power, the story sees 2 characters, Sane and Noah, crossing paths and questioning everything. Eiyuden Chronicles: 100 Heroes releases next year for Xbox One, Xbox Series X and S, PS4, PS5, PC, and Nintendo Switch. Season: A Letter to the Future. Scavenger Studio is no strangers to controversy, following allegations against its co-founders. Things seem on track though, with the narrative adventure releasing on January 31st, 2023 for PS4, PS5, and PC. It's the story of Estelle, who leaves her village to explore the world, meeting and helping different people and recording things, whether through documentation, photography, or recordings. A calm, meditative journey that explores change while presenting a gorgeous-looking art style sounds like the right way to start the new year. Dead Island 2. Initially believed to be vaporware due to all the delays, changing developers, and lack of new information, Deep Silver's Dead Island 2 finally re-emerged last year. It's set in post-apocalyptic zombie-infested California, with Los Angeles and San Francisco as its main cities. Players control 6 different slayers as they attempt to survive. Swords, hammers, axes, and much more are the key to fighting back against the various zombie types. And you can even activate Fury mode to rip and tear barehanded. Despite facing another delay to April 28, 2023, Dead Island 2 looks like it could finally release next year on Xbox One, Xbox Series X and S, PS4, PS5, and PC. Hey, did you know that we at Gaming Bolt upload new videos every day? Stick around, drop a like, subscribe, and hit that bell. And let us know what kind of content you'd like to see in the future with a comment below.